Hello, it's Angela Rossetti here, and for those of you that are tennis players, tennis fans, tennis providers, tennis teaching professionals or organizations, just to give you an update, yesterday, April 22nd, USTA National launched two documents about safer tennis. USTA New England and USTA Connecticut have diligently developed documents as well to support safer tennis. I want to go over some of them with you now because some people have been requesting them from me, and I want to help in any way that I can to help tennis get back on its feet. So the way we see it is tennis has three primary roles, or this is what this is going to cover: the facility or staff, the teaching professional, and the member or. So as it relates to the facility or staff or club owner, you might want to consider blocking off every other parking spot and encourage no face touching. Prop all doors to the inside courts or to the exit of the building. That way people don't have to touch doors. For those clubs that have revolving doors, make sure to monitor one person at a time entering and exiting revolving doors. If you have curtains at the club, they should be open on the way to the court so that players don't have to touch the curtains. Place X's, blue or green X's, where people stand if they need to wait in line at the front desk, and arrows on the way in, and then orange or red X's or arrows for exiting, just like grocery stores are doing right now. Unannounced time allowed. All payment transactions should be done online or over the phone and not in person. No furniture in the lobby, no lobby congregating. If you have snack or healthy food machines, they should be temporarily closed. No community water fountains, and players are encouraged to bring their own water bottles, bring their own grips. No using of demo rackets or shared rackets at this point. No racket restringing or over grips are suggested. Possibly having a monitor or someone that's a greeter to greet players on the way in. That greeter should have gloves and a mask of some sort, making sure people are keeping at least 6 feet distance according to the CDC. Taking temperatures possibly of people, administering real-time COVID tests if they're available. Again, these are suggestions. And front desk staff must wash their hands regularly, have automatic hand sanitizers, not where you have to touch or press. An example I'm wearing right now is just a piece of paper crumpled up here, and when you go to touch your face, you can't really touch your face, and it reminds you not to touch your face. I saw that online from a doctor, so that's an example of something that you can encourage the staff to do. Also, the staff having gloves and masks as well. Removing all benches on the court, so there's individual chairs. If they're provided by the club, they should be sanitized after every lesson and before every lesson, or have families bring their own fold-out chair for their own use. No child care services or of that nature. No locker room use, or very limited, maybe for emergencies only. Phase in multiple court programs, multiple player per court programs. Try to stick to private lessons, semi-private lessons, or 5 or less on a court. Those are just some suggestions. Also, following the occupancy guidelines for your particular state, just like they're doing in grocery stores, for example. Those would be what the club owners, facility, or staff can do. And then as far as the teaching professional, number one is, a teaching professional on the cart or hoppers, and so they're not shared by the professionals, by only one professional. The teaching professionals not touch their face at any time during the day, and they are to sanitize their hands and wash their hands after every lesson. No serving unless the players use their own balls, so mainly feeding from the pro, and serving can be handled separately, maybe during private lessons. Only the pro touches the tennis balls, not the members. Make sure to have signage and have the teaching professional help direct the members to where they enter, where they exit. Absolutely no scoring systems at the net whatsoever. No switching sides. And if you're playing doubles, encourage the players not to high five or interact in any way. Basically trying to minimize touch points. Also, one-on-one doubles I see as something that could be really popular right now. Players who like to play doubles don't necessarily like to cover the full court. So one-on-one doubles is basically playing half-court match using doubles alleys on one side. So one-on-one doubles is something that ultimately I see being pretty important. Phasing in lessons and also being just mindful of spacing, especially for younger children, and basically, educating the members on what the new normals would look like, keeping court dividers open. And then the final thing on the player end, the third role would be the actual club member or player. They must adhere to all the safety rules that the club has posted, the state has announced, and CDC recommends. No touching the face while you're in the building. Again, this little device here basically putting under your sleeve some type of paper, so when you go to touch your face, it's very difficult, and it's a reminder not to touch your face. Willing to follow directions, bring your own towel, racket, overgrips, hand sanitizers as well. Attending, if you do 10 and under and 8 and under tennis clinics, the parents could potentially help with just if they stay with their child only. That might be a help. As far as on the teaching end, to encourage additional teaching pros or coaches in training, CITs. And then if the member insists on working on their serve, make sure the member only touches the balls that he or she serves, but not to touch the club balls that only the pro would touch. Absolutely do not discard or put the tennis balls when the member is done in the club hopper or at the net or anywhere else on the court. Basically bring them home or discard them if they would like. And as far as ball machines go, USTA recommends a whole policy as far as ball machines, but there, you're basically not trying to have more than one person touch the machine. So the machine touched by just the pro or sanitized after every lesson, and the members dumping in the balls, but actually touching the balls that they use with the ball hopper. As far as tennis balls, bringing a separate can per person and having that can be a different brand or a different number, and then keeping track of that. That would be important. And no congregating, like I mentioned before, in the lobby. No early arrivals. If you do arrive 10 or 15 minutes early, just wait in your car until it's your turn to enter the court. If there are crossing of people leaving and entering, just make sure to keep a 6 feet or greater margin or safe distance. And the final thing is that if a member does not adhere to any of these rules, they could be put on probation, given a warning, or temporarily prohibited from coming back to the club. So that would be really important. Also, additional resources: Tennessee Industry United, Eva Clean's touchless disinfecting and sanitizing tools. USPTA has a document as far as safer play and teaching and coaching. Becoming familiar with OSHA requirements for the workplace. The PPP application, which is on the Treasury.gov website, the EIDL loan application, Club Managers Association, National Club Association, Center for Disease Control, that's CDC, and then also Pros Connect. So those are some resources. I hope this was helpful. But basically, let's stay positive. We're in this together. We will get through this together as a sport and as an industry. If you have any questions whatsoever, or would like a copy of a link to this video, email me, angelo@tenacity.org, angelo@tenacity.org, and be safe, be well. Thanks so much.